Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Leo for November 2016. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see what's new on my blog, and if you're interested in being a coach, a life coach, a business coach, a spiritual coach as your profession, then check out my new program, which will be enrolling soon. So what's going on in the month of November? I am so crazy excited about this month. This is the best month of the entire year and until like the summer of 2017 for launches, development, advancement, ascension, clarity, momentum. It's just amazing. And it's especially glorious for fire signs because tons of energy is present in the sign of Sagittarius. When there are lots of planets in a fellow fire sign like Sag, then it lights you up. And you're having this energy light up in your fifth house, which is your Leo house, which only adds fuel to the fire. So this is the theme for Leos for this month, is all lit up. So there's tons of potentials. I'll talk about where these kisses from the universe will show up in your charts. I'll talk a little bit later about the general transits, what, the good days, the challenging days, what to look out for, what the general theme is for the month for all signs. But first I want to focus on some things specific for Leo. Now, within the Leo spectrum, we've got things that all Leo placements, early, middle, and late, can expect. And then we have a little bit of division between the earlier, middle, and late for some aspects, which I'll talk about. Okay, so all Leo placements have lots of energy in the fourth and fifth houses. The fourth house is the house of home and family. It's also the house of real estate and anything having to do with childhood, people who work with things involving people's childhoods, like social workers, psychologists, anything having to do with working with people's houses, like construction, real estate, interior design. All of those sectors have amazing potentials. If you're trying to sell a house or trying to buy a house, this is one of the best months of the whole year to close and to have forward movement on selling your house. If you're trying to sell your house, check out Saint Joseph. Saint Joseph is a patron saint of real estate. And you might be surprised at the results that you find if you're trying to sell your house. You can find a Saint Joseph real estate sale kit online. They're like $10 or between $10 and $20. And I can attest to my own experience with this, which may have been coincidental, but I had a real estate business for 10 years. I bought, refurbished, sold, rented. I was a landlord for 10 years. And during that time, I sold a lot of houses. All of the houses that I sold, I had the St. Joseph statue underneath the, they'll give you directions as to what you're supposed to do with St. Joseph. But in any case, I didn't have a house on the market for more than 3 or 4 months ever. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe St. Joseph helped me out. In any case, I just want to pass it along to you because I've had other people report back to me amazing results when using the saint's help. So anything having to do with home and family, harmony in the house, home expansion, new rental house, new adding to your own house, sprucing up your house, anything like that, and wonderful family dynamics. One thing to note about that, which I'll talk a little more about later, is there's a little bit of a challenging aspect around Thanksgiving. So for people in the United States, watch out for family things there because it gets a little bit, something goes on. But otherwise, the whole month is just the best month ever. And the other house that is accentuated for all Leo placements is this fifth house, which I mentioned earlier. It's the house of Leo. It's the house of creativity, children, artistic expression. So, athletes, singers, actors, musicians, any hobbies that you have, any creative work is all in this house, including the whole process of baby from conception, being pregnant, birthing, child rearing, caring for the children that you have, or someone else's kids if you're a caretaker or you work with kids. This sector is lit up like the 4th of July, and there's lots sizzling. This is also the house of romance. So it's also the house of true love. So who doesn't want to have that energy activated in their chart? It's pretty exciting. Okay, so those are for all Leo placements. The earlier Leo placements also can expect to receive kisses in the arena of health, diet, anything having to do with medical things, and also what you do every day. This is your sector that kind of, it's called, I guess, your everyday sector. It's like your mundane reality sector. So if you're in the office all day, it relates to your work office dynamics. If you're home all day, it relates to what goes on every day. And it also relates to how you do your work. So there's this drive for becoming more efficient with your work. There's a huge movement towards utilizing resources like Upwork, upwork.com. Upwork is an amazing international online venue where you can connect with people all over the world who are professionals with the work that you are seeking to have someone do, including virtual assistants. And I can attest to the fact that I don't even know what happened I did before I had a virtual assistant. It's like night and day as far as efficiency, because things that you don't have as much fun dealing with, your assistant wants to do that. So maybe this will be the time that you take hours of work off of your day-to-day plate and make more time for fun and romance and creativity. Even simple things like a floor robot. Not all floor robots are like $900 like the new Roombas are. You know, there's a nice range of prices from even like $100-ish for vacuuming robots. At some point I realized that I was spending hours a week sweeping dog fur and other matter from 2- and 4-leggeds in my house. And now I don't do that anymore because the robot does it. And this energy in the 6th house that is activated for you, and this is coming soon for the rest of you placements. So when I say this is active now for early placements, I mean more like birthdays at the end of July and the very beginning of August, or 0 to 9 degrees. But for the rest of you, this whole story about efficiency within your workplace or home place and your day-to-day work is coming soon. So be thinking about those things, you know, make a list of the things you don't have to do and see how you can have somebody else or something else do them. And then you're freed up to be more creative and hang out with your romantic interest or whatever you want to do. So the middle to later degree placements, so the rest of the August born placements, and then from like 10-ish to 29 degrees for your rising sign, you will have extra energy in the 3rd house. And the 3rd house has to do with communication and transportation and the devices or modes of this transportation or communication. So it's one of the best times of the year to buy a new device, to upgrade, to buy a new car. So I want to talk about what general transits will affect you. November is a very exciting month. I'm calling the theme of November for all signs, advancement and ascension. There are lots of planetary energies moving through the sign of Sagittarius. And when this happens, there's an overall optimistic, awesome vibe that's lighthearted, it's fun, it's easygoing. It can be very productive as well, but it can be a little bit dizzying because it moves in a spiral. So it's kind of all over the place. So there's lots of expansion and fun to be had this month, and you'll feel the mood be quite elevated, especially compared to the recent months of eclipses and retrogrades. Speaking of retrogrades, November is the only month in all of 2016 where we don't have any days in the whole month in a personal planet retrograde or a shadow period of a personal planet retrograde. So we had some really good launch dates in October, but we've got even more awesome launch dates in November. Almost every day in the first week is amazing for anything that you want to do. Launches, good times, plans, outings, just overall good vibes. Almost every day of the first week has amazing transits. The 15th, the 19th, the 22nd, the 23rd, the 26th, the 29th. And you can feel these energies often in the days before and the days after. So the month is just completely full of amazing opportunities. When you sign up for my free email newsletter on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, you will get a written version of the good dates, the challenging dates, the overview of the month, every month, a month early, the same way that I do the horoscopes early. So, and you get other gifts for signing up too. So if you want more information or seeing in a written form the energies that are coming up, then definitely go to my website and do that. So Mars is also wrapping up its movement through Capricorn. Mars visits a sign every 2-ish years. So whenever it's bringing its movement and activity to a sign, we have a lot of opportunities to move forward in our lives. Mars is like the border collie of the zodiac. If you've ever been around border collies, I always have had border collies my whole life, and they're busy. They're all over the place. And they can make you crazy, right? Because it's just such active energy, and they're strong and fast, and that's the energy wherever Mars is in your chart and in the sign that it's in. So when Mars is in Capricorn, which it is for the first week of November, that's the end of its cycle there, you have amazing opportunities to wrap up business-related things, work, career, life purpose, things involving establishing your authority, things involving authority figures, anything having to do with father or father figures, or people who have played that role to you. As Mars moves into Aquarius, we've got a couple of months of movement along the fronts of everything Aquarian, including all internet-based projects, humanitarian efforts, anything involving groups or teams or leading groups or working with teams or large organizations or humanitarian efforts, or friendships or social media. So you've got a lot of opportunity with Mars, especially for things along these lines. There are a couple of spots in the month that are a little bit, I call it dicey, which means that the energies are a little bit challenging. I always think that the challenges give us more opportunities to advance and ascend, so I have an optimistic way of looking even at the challenges. So on the days leading up to that 5th supermoon at 22 degrees of Taurus on November 14th, there could be some emotions. Full moons bring emotions. And speaking of dogs, full moons always remind me of how dogs shake off after they get wet, because emotional energy is represented by water energy. And so at the full moon, any energies that we have in our field that haven't been shaken off tend to get shaken off in the form of some sort of little drama, some sort of little upset, coming to fruition, coming to completion. Sometimes it's a really wonderful thing and there are tears of joy, but sometimes it's just stressful. So I often feel the full moon like 48 hours before it actually happens. That's why I say the days leading up to November 14th. Then by the time the full moon comes, I'm good. I'm done with my moment or whatever. So the fact that this is a supermoon, which means that the moon is actually closer to the earth, you can see it. It looks huge. It also increases the gravitational pull and effects on the earth. So anything involving water, like water coming where it shouldn't be, emotions coming where they shouldn't be, excess emotions, can definitely come up. There could be something around the energies of Taurus where it has to do with money or how you make money, your income, something of value, and figuring out things of values, just your values in general. Another very notable transit is a square between Jupiter and Pluto. Whenever we have an aspect between outer planets, which are the ones that take longer to move around, these times of coming together last longer. And so this first Jupiter-Pluto square is happening on November 24th, Thanksgiving. So that could bring some conflicts for people in the United States around our holiday, our Thanksgiving holiday. So look out for that, but this is the first of 3 squares. The second one is March 30th of 2017, and the last one is August 14th of 2017. So from November through August, there's a theme of Jupiter and Pluto coming together in a challenging aspect. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. It wants to expand and go broad. Pluto rules Scorpio, and it wants to contract in and go deep and get really focused and really deep. So when these energies that are kind of, they seem they're actually opposite, come together, it stops you from going too deep or too broad. But I see this as a positive thing because either of those energies in excess have their limitations. So I think that you can get the best of whatever you're working on by not letting your Jupiterian expansion get too big, too fast before you can manage it, and Pluto kind of keeping it in check, and not letting you go down into an abyss that Pluto tends to go down into too deep because Jupiter buoys it up. So you'll see this energy of kind of antagonistic forces at play throughout this time. And I'm calling it a little bit of a buzzkill energy because compared to the rest of the vibes of the month, it's a little bit annoying, but see it for what you can do with it. The last little touchy spot is on the last day of the month, which is November 30th. And that's when there's a challenging aspect with Neptune. So deception, self-esteem pings, confusion, insecurity can come up at that time. But don't let these things daunt you because the rest of the month is so amazing that it's like you can't let anything get you down. So if you would like to sign up for my free email newsletter, definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Definitely check out what's new on my blog. I have new things up there every month, and plus old stuff you can check out. And if you're interested in becoming a life coach, a business coach, I have a coach certification and online business training course that is enrolling in January, and you can get first dibs at the open slots if you email me on my website. Also, starting enrollment in January will be my astrology apprenticeship program and my creating successful online business program, which is part of the life coach program, but I also offer it separately. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.